Hello there, amazing viewers and subscribers, and welcome to a brand new epic Doctor Who video for today. So for this video, it is on everything I own in my Doctor Who collection from each Doctor, and we are literally on to part 5. So if you haven't seen my other 4 parts, basically going from William Hartnell, everything I own for the 1st, 2nd, 3rd and 4th Doctors. So today we'll be looking at everything I own in my Doctor Who collection from the 5th Doctor. So I've literally gone through my entire whole Doctor Who collection, pulling everything I own of the 5th Doctor's era, who was played by Peter Davidson. I absolutely do enjoy Davidson's run. Now, Davidson is one of my least favourite Doctors, is because, one, he feels more like a human than he does an alien like Tom Baker and John Pertwee did, because they two felt like they had something great in their performance, but Davidson feels much like a human type version, something that the 10th Doctor will later on adapt in his performance, played by David Tennant. So for this video, I'm going to share everything I own from the 5th Doctor, everything I own on VHS, DVD, Blu-ray, CD, and of course vinyls, and of course the Target book range. So I don't own a lot of Davidson stuff like for Big Finish, so I am including Big Finish into this video, as Davidson was one of the first Doctors to basically go back into the role back in 1999 for Big Finish Productions. So I'm literally going to show you everything I own, including from Big Finish from the 5th Doctor. So doing this through basically order-wise, we're going to go through VHS, DVD, Blu-ray, and then of course straight down to the CD department and vinyl, and of course Target book. So let's dive into it. So with Peter Davison, I own his very first story on VHS, which is of course Castrovalva, written by Christopher H. Beamead. I do enjoy Castrovalva. It's one of my favourite stories from season 19. In fact, it's literally my 3rd favourite out of season 19, because in season 19 there's literally like 3 Doctor Who stories I absolutely do enjoy, and that's of course Castrovalva, The Visitation and Earthshock. So yeah, I do have Castrovalva. Next we have Fort of Doomsday. Now I bought this off Bondor on Facebook back in 2020, just before COVID-19 hit, and it didn't have the artwork, aka the cover for it. So I do have it, I just do not have the artwork for it, so it is the only one that stands out on my collection. Then of course we have the 3rd story for the 5th Doctor, aka Kinder. Not my favourite story. I do prefer the Mara in Snake Dance, but it's still enjoyable. It has got some great moments in it, like I do like. Then of course we have a double pack VHS with The Visitation and Black Orchid. The Visitation is definitely the strong story of this out of this VHS cassette and tape. Black Orchid is definitely the weakest and definitely not one I do intend to enjoy as often. Then of course we have my favourite story from season 19 on VHS, which is of course Earthshock. I absolutely do enjoy Earthshock, and it's a great story, and I actually watched this on UK Gold, so it's actually quite nice to have Earthshock in my collection more than once, so you will see how many times I own Earthshock. And then of course we have the final story of season 19, aka Time Flight on VHS. So jumping into season 20, we have Arc of Infinity for Peter Davidson's Doctor, aka his 2nd season. We have my favourite story from the Mara, aka Snake Dance. I absolutely love Snake Dance. It is the best story for the Mara. I actually do quite enjoy it. Then of course we dive into the Black Guardian trilogy with Mordrine Undead on VHS. Then of course we have Terminus on VHS. And then the final trilogy of the story, aka Enlightenment on VHS. And then straight away we have the 5 Doctors, the original release from 1990. I absolutely do enjoy the 5 Doctors. It is definitely my favourite story out of season 20. Absolutely do enjoy it. It's a great story. It's the original release that basically aired back in 1983, but it was released on VHS. So diving into season 21, we have Warriors of the Deep on VHS. Again, another great story. I absolutely love Warriors of the Deep. Then of course we have a double pack VHS with The Awakening and Frontios. I absolutely do enjoy Frontios. It is a great story, and I do love the Tractators. And of course we have The Marless as well, which is another great story, and I absolutely love it. And then of course we have not supposed to happen. Then of course we have Resurrection of the Daleks, which came out back in 1993. for the show's 30th anniversary. So we do have that one. And then, of course, we have The Planet of Fire on VHS. And then we have the epic finale, aka my favourite Fifth Doctor story, The Case of Androzani on VHS. And as a singular literal release, Peter Davison did present the Daleks the early years. So it does have Peter Davison talking about the Daleks from the early years, which is actually quite nice to have on VHS. Unfortunately, Peter Davison does not have the Davidson years on VHS, nor did Sylvester McCoy. So it is actually quite nice to have a VHS with Peter Davidson on it, but even though it's not talking about his era, it's literally just talking about the Daleks, which are one of my favourite Doctor Who villains of all time. And then finishing off with the VHSs, we have two Fifth Doctor box sets. So we've got box set number 1, which is limited edition, which has got the King's Demons and of course the 5 Doctors. And this came out in 1995 with the brand new release of the 5 Doctors with a brand new version, and of course with the artwork we have on the DVD range. So I do love that artwork. So when it comes to the DVD, I will show you that piece of artwork. So we do have this fantastic VHS box set with the King's Demons and the 5 Doctors for season 20. And then of course with Davidson we have another Davidson release on in a VHS box set in the Davros collection for Resurrection of the Daleks, along with 2 Tom Baker stories that I've already done in my Tom Baker video, where everything I own in my collection of the Tom Baker era. So it's actually quite nice, and you will see this return in the Colin Baker and Sylvester McCoy type video. So that is basically it for the VHSs and everything I own for the Fifth Doctor. So diving in to the DVD range. So for the DVD range, we're going to be looking at the single releases and then of course into the box set releases. So for the single releases, we have 4 to Doomsday on DVD. The original DVD release of The Visitation. The Visitation Special Edition. Black Orchid. Earthshock. The original DVD release of the 5 Doctors. A bit like the VHS artwork, but in a similar sort of small compact cover. But this was the very first ever Doctor Who DVD to be released. And it was actually quite nice to have a Davidson story released on DVD, I think, back in 1999. Unfortunately, I was only 3 years old at the time, so my dad would have picked that up. And I think I watched it with my dad a lot of times. Then, of course, we have the 5 Doctors 25th Anniversary Edition. And, of course, it was recently released in a 40th Anniversary Edition in Blu-ray for Doctor of the Collection Season 20. So I do have that one. Then, of course, we have Frontiers for Season 21. Resurrection of the Daleks, the original DVD release of the story. And then, of course, we have The Case of Androzani, the original DVD release. So that is it for Davidson in the singular DVD releases. So now it's time to talk about the box set. So, of course, the first box set I have to basically show you on the DVD range is, of course, the New Beginnings box set, which comes with Logopolis and, of course, the Keeper of Traken, but it also has Castrovalva. So on the box, we have one side of Tom Baker and another side Peter Davidson, with the Master in the middle, played by Anthony Ainley, who is of course my favourite version of the Master, and of course in this trilogy he makes his debut as the Master by taking over Tremas's body. I absolutely love Anthony Ainley's performance as the Master. Then of course we have the Tegan box set, which is signed by Peter Davidson when the first time I met him back in 2017, and of course it has Time Flight and Arc of Infinity in it. So it is actually quite a nice box set, and it is signed by Peter Davison. Next, of course, we have the Mara Tales, which has the 2 DVD stories of basically Kinder and the Snake Dance. My favourite story, again, is of course Snake Dance, so I do enjoy this box set, but I don't really watch it often now since both of these stories have been released on Blu-ray in their seasons. And then, of course, we have the Black Guardian trilogy with Mordrin Undead, Tonus and Enlightenment in my collection. And then of course we have the Chameleon Tales, and of course it contains, as we know, the King's Demon and of course Planet of Fire, including a special edition of Planet of Fire as well, which is like a movie type version. Really looking forward to when season 21 comes out on Blu-ray, so I can actually see it all on Blu-ray. And then of course diving into the box sets for Peter Davison now. So in box set number 1, we have the Earth story with basically the gunfighters for William Hartnell, and of course it has the Awakening. So it is a multi-Doctor box set. And then we have Beneath the Surface, and of course it has 2 John Pertwee stories, and of course it has Peter Davidson for Warriors of the Deep. So we do have the Silurian and Sea Devil box set. And then of course we have the 40th anniversary DVD release of Daleks, and of course it contains 3 Dalek stories, one with William Hartnell, one with Peter Davidson, aka Resurrection of Daleks, and it does contain Remembrance of the Daleks. So you will see this return in a later Doctor Who collection type video. So yeah, I do have Resurrection of Daleks, and this is the original DVD release before the special edition came out, so it is actually quite nice to have that one. And then next, of course, we have the Davros collection on DVD. And again, Resurrection of Daleks is contained in this with other Dalek stories, which we will see return in the Colin Baker and, of course, Wes McCoy type video. So yeah, you do have the Davros collection. And, of course, it does have some other Dalek stories from Big Finish, but none against the 5th Doctor, unfortunately. And then, of course, for the next box set we had for Peter Davison is, of course, Visitations 1 with the special edition of The Case of Androzani. I've watched this a number of times. It is my box that I normally go to watch The Case of Androzani, and it's brilliant. I absolutely love it. And then the second one we got is, of course, Visitations 2 with Resurrection of the Daleks. And again, I got this one signed by Peter Davison because it contains 2 versions of the story. The 4-part version that was released on VHS and, of course, on DVD in the original release, and the 45-minute version that was actually broadcast for the story and trying to give it a trial run for season 22. And it was actually quite nice to have this in release, and of course I do have Peter Davidson to sign it. And then of course the final DVD box set is of course the Regeneration box set, which contains The Caves of Androzani, and of course it has all the other Regeneration stories from the 10th Planet all the way down to the End of Time part 1 and 2. So yeah, it's actually quite nice to have a box set with classic Doctors and 2 modern Doctors. So I'm hoping we get another version of this released soon and have all of the Regeneration stories put on. So basically from the Time of the Doctor, Twice Upon a Time, and of course the Power of the Doctor, and maybe the Giggle, and actually have a Regeneration box set for that as well. So that'd be actually quite nice to have as well. And then of course diving into the Blu-ray range for the 5th Doctor, I have both of his seasons. So recently I've got some Doctor Who collection protector covers, and they have arrived. So here they are. We have season 19 in its protector cover, and you can see the back of the artwork, and of course it is signed by Janet Fielding and Peter Davidson, and of course you can see it reflecting because it's plastic. And of course we have season 20 in another plastic case in protector with it signed by Janet Fielding. So I do love these protectors, and they're actually quite nice. I have got another 10 coming through the post, so I can put season 2, 8, 9, 10 and 12 in them, because you only get 10 in a pack. So I have ordered the number 1. It is coming through the post, and hopefully it'll be here by Saturday. And then I can actually add the other ones in, and then I've got 5 spare for when other collection box sets come out. So the next one will be season 25, and that will be going in. Yes, I have took these out of the J cards because when I literally was putting them on display on the shelf, they looked a bit battered and tatty. So I always wanted to get protectors for these, but I thought there was no point because the J cards are supposed to be with them. But when I was trying to put these in the protectors of the J cards, the season 20 is a lot thicker and a lot bigger in the box set, so the J card wouldn't fit in with into the protection. So I do have the J cards. I've put them somewhere safe, so I have got them in the protectors because I absolutely love these sets. These sets are absolutely brilliant and amazing. And season 20 is coming out because again, it is a lot thicker. So season 20 is a lot thicker for these protectors, but I squeezed it in. Hopefully it doesn't get damaged because I do love this Blu-ray set. I love all my Blu-ray sets, so it's actually quite nice to have them in protectors. And basically you got the J cards, so when you move the J cards you can actually see the artwork a lot more better and clearer, I think. So yeah, the J cards have gone, so you can see the artwork in my collection a lot more better. And I'm literally going to switch it about because normally I leave the Target books till last, so I'm literally going to show you the Target books and then show you the Big Finish audios. So for the Target book range, we've got this many books in my collection. I do not have all of Davidson's stories on Target Book. I am hoping to track them down, so let's get into it. So of course we have Castrovalva on Target Book. Kinder. I actually got this from a charity shop and it was already sticky taped. It is in bad condition, but I wanted it because I just wanted to have it in the collection and it was only 50p. I am trying to track down a better version of this one, but at the moment it does stand out and it does look a bit tatty. And then of course we have the original Target Book release of the Visitation, and of course it's got Davidson from the actual story by the TARDIS. Earthshock is next, written by Ian Marter. Again, it doesn't have a good artwork, but it is actually quite good. I need to read it. I do. Then, of course, we have Time Flight for the fantastic Target Book collection. And then, of course, we have not one, but two copies of Snake Dance in my Target Book collection. So this one I got from a charity shop, and it is literally a bit rare in tear, but it is an old Target Book. But you got a good one here in good nick. And again, I got this one on Vinted in a bundle, and this one is from a charity shop. 50p. Well, I paid £45 for a whole bundle of Target Books, so I do have it twice in my collection. I probably read the better one because I do want to keep it in good nick. So I'll probably read the tatty one for now. And then of course we have another two books in the same copy, aka Mordrin Undead. We have this one that was in a charity shop for 50p, and of course you got this one that came in that fantastic bundle for £45. So yeah, I do have Mordrin Undead twice in my collection on Target Book. And then of course we have four last Target Books in my collection for Peter Davidson. So that did not happen. Okay, so we've got the 5 Doctors. Again, it's the second edition, and it's very, very shiny, and I do actually quite like that artwork, and I have read it. It's actually quite brilliant. Then of course we have Warriors of the Deep, Resurrection of the Daleks, which I got out of my aunt and uncle's birthday money, with Revelation of the Daleks with Colin Baker. So it is actually quite nice to have my second favourite 80s Dalek story on Target Book. And then we have the Caves of Androzani on Target Book as well. So yeah, we do have the Caves of Androzani. And then of course, moving on to CD now with Peter Davidson, we do have 2 CD box sets of soundtracks from his era. So of course I do own Doctor Who the 50th anniversary collection, and of course I got this from the Doctor Who expedition when it was in Cardiff back in 2016. And I picked this up, my aunt and uncle took me to go basically into the actual expedition, look at the Doctor Who props, and of course I actually went on the TARDIS tour back in the day. So I literally went into the shop as well, and I literally picked up this CD box set. It's actually quite brilliant. And then more recently, we picked up the collector's edition, aka the limited edition of the 50th anniversary, and it contains all the soundtracks from the 1st to the 11th Doctors. And of course it has, for the 5th Doctor, a lot of his stories. And I did open this and I did show you the artwork. I do not want to open this because they are very hard to get back in if you just take one out. And I haven't even listened to this yet. I've literally have it on display because I'm just absolutely quite proud to have it in my collection. I really am. And then of course diving in to Big Finish. So Peter Davidson has been in a few multi-Doctor stories, so I am going to show you the multi-Doctor stories I own for the 5th Doctor. I don't own a lot, unfortunately. So for the 5th Doctor, where he's travelling with companions like Adric, Nyssa and Tegan, Tarlo, Chameleon and maybe Perry, I do not own any stories with the 5th Doctor and Perry, but I do own quite a few. So of course we have the 5th Doctor box set. I got this on the Facebook marketing site. It says to Kieran for Peter Davidson, but I paid it in a bundle, and it comes with Physical Dome and Items of Eye. I haven't listened to this one yet, but I'm really looking forward to it. And of course it is set in season 19, sorry, as it has Adric in it. So I do have that one. Next, of course, in my collection, I do have Doctor Who 40, where the 5th Doctor is travelling through backwards and forwards through time, and of course entering on Teros in the Cybermen. I've listened to the Cybermen story, which is Secrets of Teros. It's brilliant, absolutely brilliant. I haven't listened to the God of War yet. I literally did, then another Big Finish came, and I was literally excited to dive into that one. So I need to go back and finish this box set, and then I can do my review on Doctor Who 40. And then of course we have a 6-part adventure which is called The Auton Infinity for the second box set of Doctor Who 40, where the Doctor is of course travelling with Tegan, Tarlo and Chameleon, coming across the Master and having the Brigadier unit, and of course the return of the Autons. And I think this is actually the very first time the Autons returned into Big Finish. I think it's the very first time they did a Big Finish audio of the Autons. I'm not 100% sure because I don't own a lot of Big Finish. I just own quite a bit of it. So yeah, I do have Doctor Who 40. And then for singular releases, we have got Alien Heart and Dalek Soul, which is basically set in between Time Flight and Arc of Infinity, where the Doctor is just travelling with Nyssa and comes across the Daleks. So that one's actually quite good. Then of course we have 2 stories, aka Warzone and Conversion, which is a Cyberman kind of two trilogy. I don't know what they call it. Trilogy is 3, so what do you call 2 stories where they're connected? And of course it has the 5th Doctor travelling with Nyssa and Tegan, and of course a new companion I never heard of, Mac. And of course Mac does end up getting converted into a Cyberman. And of course it has David Banks back as the Cyber leader. I absolutely did enjoy listening to that story, and I've got to do a review on it. And then of course we have The Toy, which is read by Sarah Sutton. And then we have 2 stories from Classic Doctor's New Monsters. And of course we have Fallen Angels from the first box set, where the 5th Doctor comes across a Weeping Angel, which is brilliant, by the way. I absolutely love this story. It's absolutely great. And then of course we have my second favourite story from Davidson, the New Doctors and New Classic Doctors New Monsters, Empire of the Rachnos. And of course it is actually quite good, and I absolutely love it. It's brilliant, just brilliant. So that is everything I own for Big Finish for the 5th Doctor, but not on his own. So for multi-Doctor stories, I own quite a bit for the 5th Doctor. So the first one I have is of course Light at the End. To actually listen to all of the 8 Doctors kind of having to work together. Well, technically it's 5 of the 8 Doctors, because as we all know, back then in 2013, they didn't have the rights to do the 1st, 2nd and 3rd Doctors in multi-Doctor stories. So it's actually quite nice to have a story. And actually, you will see this return quite in the next couple of Doctors for like Paul McGann, Colin Baker, Cecil McCoy, because it is a great multi-Doctor story. And I do love the fact how you got more of the 4th and 8th Doctors together. And then of course we have my second ever Doctor Who multi-Doctor story, Out of Time 2, where the 5th Doctor encounters the 10th Doctor once again after Time Crash. And of course you got a great setting in Paris, and the Cybermen are brilliant, just brilliant in this story. So yeah, I do love that one. And then of course we have another big kind of multi-Doctor story. It was to celebrate 20 years of Big Finish. We have the Legacy of Time, and the Davidson story in this one is, I haven't listened to it actually. I haven't really listened to this one yet. I've only listened to the first one, which is Life in Ruins with Paul McGann, and of course he meets Benny Summerfield and of course River Song. So I need to go back and re-listen to this one. It's absolutely brilliant. And then of course we have Once and Future, the Artist at the End of Time, where the 5th Doctor is back because the Doctor is degenerating through past incarnations, and of course later on through future incarnations that the Doctor has not even heard of yet. So it's actually quite nice to hear the Doctor degenerating back into his 5th incarnation and encountering the, as we all know, the creator of the Underground Gallery, and it's played by Colin Baker. So it's kind of a multi-Doctor story, but it's actually quite nice and it is brilliant. It's honestly a great one. Is that everything I own for the 5th Doctor? No, because there are 2 more things I own of the 5th Doctor in my fantastic Doctor Who collection. So of course we have on vinyl the soundtrack to The Visitation. I bought this from a shop in Shrewsbury, believe it or not, for £25, and I haven't listened to this one yet because The Visitation is my favourite story. I love that artwork. It really settles in and it really looks so good for the story. So I do have that one as well. And then for my birthday, I actually met a Doctor Who fan named Alex on my birthday. And of course, Alex gave me some nice birthday presents, and I wasn't expecting it. And it was really nice to have a fan who wants to give me something that I wasn't expecting. And Alex gave me my favourite story from Davidson on vinyl, the soundtrack of the entire thing. And it is The Caves of Androzani. I haven't listened to this yet because I'm scared of taking it out of the plastic wallet, because I'm scared of damaging it, because it just looks magnificent. It is my favourite story, and to basically say, if I ever get the chance to re-meet Peter Davison again, considering I've already met him 4 times, I'm definitely going to get this signed because one, it's just absolutely magnificent. I'm glad I own it on vinyl. I do have a vinyl record. I'm just scared of taking it out of the plastic because it just looks so good. It's absolutely brilliant. I need to listen to it, but I'm scared of listening to it. I really am scared of damaging it. But yeah, it's the soundtrack to The Case of Androzani, which is my most prized possession in my fantastic Davidson collection after, of course, season 20 and season 19 on Blu-ray. And that is everything I own of the Fifth Doctor in my fantastic Doctor Who collection. So what do you own in your Doctor Who collection from the Fifth Doctor? Do you just collect one thing and basically when the Blu-ray boxes come out you sell the DVDs on? Or do you, like me, and just collect everything of Doctor Who, like VHSs, Target books, DVDs and Blu-rays? Let me know in the comments. Please do like, subscribe and share, and join me for more awesome Doctor Who content. And thank you for being magnificent viewers and subscribers.